What's up, everyone? Russell and Mitchell here, taking a look at Guacamelee 2, an action Medroidvania platformer that just came out, done by Drinkbox Studios. The sequel to, in itself, a very, very top-notch Metroidvania-type game. One of the best in that genre. Now,
I haven't played it.
No, so Mitch hasn't played it. He's just here for a springboard, for my opinion.
Boing.
I've played the kind of opening hours, and from those initial hours, yeah, it's great. It's excellent, even. Like, it was already one of the best, if not the best, Metroidvania that isn't like the defining versions of that series or idea.
Whoa, that's a statement.
And Guacamelee 2 is just like it's like the intro itself is sorry, like you don't want to spoil it because there's so much amazing stuff in that start, but it just gets the ball rolling where it's like it gets you integrated into the combat. It's got incredibly challenging platforming that always feels really good to play, which in this genre is actually not even that common. Like normally the platforming is the weakest aspect of the genre.
Yeah, it's weird.
With Guacamelee, it's like probably the strongest aspect is its platforming, the music, the identity of the Mexican like universe and stuff. Like it's I think 2 fingers way up. Like if you like the first game, no brainer, absolutely pick this game up. You're gonna love it. Anyone else, like if you like the Metroidvania even slightly, pick this up. Because,
so I should definitely play it then.
Yeah, well, it leads straight into like the intro because this is the biggest contention. It's called Guacamelee 2. Do you need to play Guacamelee 1 to play Guacamelee 2? I think the intro makes it clear that you do not, because I don't want to spoil too much, but they straight up do a Castlevania Symphony of the Night, and they go, let's just put the start of this game, the end of the last game.
Okay, interesting.
So you open straight up into the final boss battle of Guacamelee 1, and it's an easy battle because you've got all your abilities. The funniest thing was like they don't tell you like Castlevania, like they don't tell you anything. So it's like it's either muscle memory or like in my case I couldn't remember what the dodge button was. So I just like I keep getting hit. I'm like, how do I dodge things? Not quite sure, but after that initial encounter, they do a hilarious jump in time and just like set up this intriguing introduction to what the narrative is of this game that I don't want to spoil too much, but all I want to say is it sets up a multiverse, which they call the Mexiverse.
I'm a big fan of multiverses.
Yeah, big fan, and like they set that up immediately, and basically, at least as far as I've gotten in, you are in the darkest timeline of the Mexi universe.
You know, you say multiverses or Mexiverse, which sounds even better.
Yeah.
Maybe the podcast should change its name. But I'm fascinated now, and from what I played the Guac 1, plays really well. You know, exciting.
There's so many nods to like other like games in the intro where it's just like I was just smiling the whole time, just like what? I did not expect any of this at the start. It's so fun, so cool, and that's something Guacamelee does so well. It's humor. Like it really pushes its humor. What I like about it is like it does push it, but it never is for very long. Like you never, even if you didn't enjoy it, it might be like here's 10 seconds of like a little comedy bit and move on. It's never like here's a 20-minute comedy setup that you're like, oh come on, I don't want any of this stuff. I just want to get into the action. Like it gels together so well. Like the humor, the music, like the vibe, the flavor of its universe.
So the game's pretty self-aware then.
Oh yeah. The first game was too, where it's like they make so much funs and like funny jabs at all these different properties. Like it's very aware that it's in a game. Like so many of the NPCs you talk to, and it's like I've been knitting this thing for hours now and nothing's changed. She's like knitting like a little thing. Or these like to speak to a kid and the kid will be like, I guess I'll just wait here now until you talk to me again or something. Like they've got that like very self-aware aspect to their conversations. But after like an hilarious setup and removal of your powers because you're not the big Mexican wrestler and stuff you were like now, like things have changed over a period of time, which in itself is an hilarious introduction to the game. You eventually become the hero again in this darkest timeline to solve the problem that's occurred, which in itself is hilarious because they build up the idea that in this timeline you failed. So like the quest in the first game, you didn't succeed in this universe, you got killed.
Like The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker.
Yeah, it's exactly like that. Very Zelda-esque, where it's like you failed in this universe, so now there's a new hero, and then now that hero's become bad, and you have to stop that hero.
Of course.
Very cool how it connects. But getting into the gameplay and like how good it is at telling you where to go. Like in Metroidvania, so often I feel they have this aspect of you've got a very clear path, and then you get an ability. And then it becomes like, oh shit, now where do I go? Do I have to retread my old like direction or do something else?
Yeah. It's like in Metroid, you have to find that door you might have seen and couldn't get through or whatever.
Yeah, and Guacamelee has those secret things where it's like, oh, I think I can go back and do that now. But in terms of the main narrative, it always is pushing you in the direction that's correct. It never goes like, now you have to retread all the old path and find the new spot. It if it makes you go back to where you were, it makes you go back a whole new direction with the whole new ability you've just obtained.
Okay, so the whole map connects up. But does that make it feel a bit linear or not really?
It doesn't, because so often it still has that Metroid aspect of finding secrets. So it could be I just obtained this new ability, which is turn into a chicken, and that significantly shrinks you down in size, and you go, oh, I've seen all these little holes everywhere. I can now go through those paths. So
talk about those abilities you unlock. How many have you had? Have you got a couple?
Speaking of, I have not obtained all the abilities from the first game yet, but they've wisely structured in such a way that it doesn't take too long to get new abilities. So I haven't got all my old abilities, but I already have quite a few brand new abilities.
That's good.
One of which is straight up the Ori and the Blind Forest orb thing. You know how you jump through the orbs?
Man.
You've got that, and they use that in very clever ways in puzzles where it's you have to keep the momentum going of jump, 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 jump.
Okay, look, you started off by selling it really well, and now you've just sold it. So, well done.
And you get that really quick too. But what's really good is now I think I never really felt this way, but a lot of people felt Guacamelee 1 was too hard at times. They made it very challenging to defeat things. But in this game, I feel the main path is much more reasonable in terms of your structure, but they have heaps of alternative paths that have much higher challenging, but they reward you with in this game it's a health get 3 health parts, you get a full health meter, increased health meter. If you get 3 mask pieces, you get 1 stamina meter, which is what ties to the combat. And so not only is it really cool how they take you to these alternative paths that are incredibly challenging, they put instant death on a lot of the spots, where it's if you hit this, you die instantly, you have to restart the whole section. That whole small section, very Celeste Super Meat Boy type thing.
So it's you die, you're back. It's not it's heaps of time.
It's incredibly quick. It's just you have to do it all in one smooth run. You can't be I got hurt halfway through.
So Ori's big final bits to a level where it's it forces you to perfect it, and I really do enjoy that one. It's it teaches you across the through the level of this is the ability, learn to master it, and then it's okay, here's the lesson you must pass, or the exam, whatever. Yeah, it's good game design. Guacamelee follows it to the T, where it's it will teach you how to use those abilities, and then you can either complete the main linear path, which is challenging but not too challenging, or take these side options, be rewarded for doing it, but you have to be an expert or really master that mechanic in that area. And of course, as the game progresses and you get new abilities, they suddenly want you to be mastering them in succession. So using multiple abilities. To work them together.
Yeah, exactly. But so those platforming sections are great. It's really cool how much they emphasize the challenging aspect earlier on, as opposed to, I think the main game probably in the last one was harder overall, but there was only a couple of very hard sections that were optional. This is they are feeding you to them at a very consistent pace, where it's I need a bit more challenge. Oh, here we go. This one's harder to do to this.
Is Guacamelee 2 fully co-op?
Yes. It's not only fully co-op, it's co-op to 4 players.
Whoa.
Which is...
That's impressive.
I haven't played that, and I can imagine it's probably incredibly chaotic. Just imagine,
oh, yeah.
Any Super Mario Brothers games when they add in 4 players, it's always it's very hard to see what's going on sometimes, and this being quite challenging platforming, I can imagine it's a nightmare in some situations.
Yeah, I would imagine so.
But get into combat, because that's somewhere else where Guacamelee succeeds so well, is its combat is very unique to itself, where it's very built on momentum and the idea of being a luchador, wrestling moves. So it's you're knocking things in the air, and then you can grab them mid-air and chuck them into other opponents.
That's cool.
I'll dive bomb them into the ground and all this kind of stuff. And it becomes a beautiful dance that just becomes more complicated as they start introducing not only all kinds of new enemies, which in themselves are some of them are you cannot dodge them. So you have to jump over them or use the environment to avoid them, that kind of thing. Or they're just annoyance. There was this little character in the first game that jumps around the map. There's it's tiny, and it always there's heaps of them. This one, there's a massive version of that thing, and when that blows up, you kill it, blows up, and then that spews 20 of those things instantly. Just saying the whole map's full of these little guys. And it's really cool how the combat just feeds on itself as you get new abilities. You might have a special punch that's blue colored, and then you might have a a special kick that's red colored, and you start to see enemies that have an invincibility shield based on that color. So
you have to use that ability to break it.
Guacamelee 1 did all this stuff, so it's like it builds it in succession to add to the fact that you need to use red and blue and all this kind of stuff together to defeat the enemies, and it's incredibly. It feels really good to just like have them mentor the attacks and then just like using all your abilities to just build these big combos. It's not quite like a fighting game, but it's...
So there's not like X, Y, X to do like a move? Or...
There is a little bit of that, so it might be like to do it special.
Then he's a wrestler.
Combo. Yeah, exactly. It does have a combo system involved, but it's never like Devil May Cry or something. Like, it's never that complicated.
Yeah.
But certainly unique to the genre. There isn't many others that have such a combo type focus system, especially the idea of throwing your opponents and stuff. Like, it's very unique to itself.
Yeah, even the ones we've played like all the ones that we've been covering this month, like none of them had really combos.
Yeah,
I mean, you could combo stuff together, but none of them had
combo
like button presses.
Not like Guacamelee.
No.
And what's so cool is that, I mean, they knew what people wanted from the first game, and that was chicken. You did become a chicken in the first game, but you couldn't do that much with chicken other than shrink to get into small spaces. In this game, the chicken is like an entire separate character in the sense of when you shrink, you also can fight all the enemies, which you could not do in the other one. So he has full-on fighting moves. He can chuck them in the air. He can do the throwaway stuff.
As a chicken.
As a chicken, yes, as a chicken.
So all the people chasing you are chicken chasers.
You could say they are chicken chasers. You kicked a chicken.
Chicken chaser.
But it's such a funny aspect of the first game, and they've doubled down on it for this game. Just the being a chicken aspect, and it's so fun to be a chicken. The coolest ability I have as the chicken is I can't remember if it was dive bomb. I can't remember the exact name, but basically it has diagonal dashes that you can use in succession to like fly like between enemies. It's so cool where it's like in combat you can go up down up down up down, and he just goes, like just rips through all the enemies. Chicken's so cool. And it's just
love the sound of it.
It just fits the vibe of the game. Like it doesn't take itself seriously. It's always funny. And chicken just adds to that vibe where it's just like you're a chicken now, and there's like this chicken god that's like granting you powers. It's just also ridiculous, yet somehow all fits into its like self-contained universe. And then finally, I've only versed one boss so far, like that I would definitely identify as a boss. And once again, they become more complicated than they have in the past, where it's more reliant on using all your abilities in succession. So there's this guy who's like a performer who's got like he's like training chickens, of course, fitting into the chicken aspect. And what you like as you challenge him, he's like utilizing that dash attack and like jumping off, like be able to jump between walls and turn, all these combos in succession to really defeat him. And it just really works. It's like having the boss as that capstone at the end. Where like it's cool to look at, good music, and it really challenges by wanting you to use as much as the abilities you've obtained through that dungeon. Very much like Zelda or something like that. Like it's using what you know and succeeding with it. But yeah, overall, amazing. Like I'm a couple hours in, and already I'm like, yep, this game is like probably better than the first one, which is already one of the best. I'm really excited. I'm hoping, because it's launching at Gamescom, that too many people don't ever look at. Maybe our video will help people go, oh, I should pick that up, Guacamelee.
Maybe. Never know.
So if you want more of our content, check out our YouTube page to find the latest tidbits and a little bit of news we're covering. Which there should be a whole lot soon with Gamescom on the horizon.
Big podcast planned.
Thank you, Mitch, for joining me on this one.
No worries, happy to be here.
And we'll hope to see you guys soon in the next one. Bye.
See ya.